But has your view now changed?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is 24 years later, and it's shocking to hear all these allegations. It's completely shocking.
Shocking to hear them? Is it surprising, given everything that you may have gleaned about him in that period?
It is surprising. Yes, it is. I mean, it's been, hearing all of this. I mean, I owe a lot to Puff with my career because, I've worked with the biggest photographers in the world, the biggest directors in the world, and, we've met. We would go to Paris Fashion Weeks. I mean, we were running around with like the biggest names in the business. So, to hear all of this happening right now is it's shocking.
You see, the reason I'm curious why you find it that shocking is that in 2010, you were very close to Cassie as well. And we've seen this horrific video, which emerged last year on CNN from several years prior, where he literally... Well, I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to just let the viewers know where I'm going here. There was this appalling video that we're now seeing where he literally beats her up in public, in a hotel, on a floor of a hotel, but in a public area. And it was absolutely despicable. Now, you said about that it wasn't a one-off, that when Cassie was beaten up on a separate occasion in 2010, you took her in, you said. We didn't even want to go to hospital, so I had a doctor friend of mine come and take a look at her. She was badly bruised, had knots on her head and a black eye. We were scared. I still have PTSD talking about it. That's nearly 15 years ago. So my only question to you is, given what you witnessed then, given what you knew had happened, and given what we all then saw with the second incident on that horrific video, actually, why are you that surprised about these allegations that have come to light?
I mean, for me, it's just reliving the whole situation over again, and that to me is the shocking part of it. I block that. That's PTSD. That's trauma that I experienced from back then, and reliving it is really difficult for me to experience because I've known Cassie since she was 17 years old, and I was like her big sister, as well as her makeup artist. And just watching all of this it's absolutely shocking.
Right, but I mean, the reality is it's
disgusting.
Just based on what you witnessed that day in 2010 and based on what we've all seen in that other video, the guy, at the very least, was a person who beat up women. And yet the picture you painted of him, of your time with him, in the early 2000s, was actually very positive. And you say you're very surprised and shocked by what's now come out. I wouldn't be shocked if I'd seen what happened to Cassie at first hand and the way you did. I think this guy's a monster, and I'm curious why that isn't what you're thinking, or have you blanked that out?
Oh, I've absolutely blanked it out all these years because it's something that I was very focused on my career, and so what happened then, obviously we couldn't discuss with anyone. So I had to blank it out of my brain.
Do you wish with hindsight...
I had to continue on and...
Right, but do you wish with hindsight, and I'm not accusing you of doing anything wrong. I'm just saying, do you wish with hindsight to prevent him treating other people in such a horrendous manner? Do you wish you'd taken it to the police, to authorities?
Of course. I mean, absolutely. But, these are things that we couldn't do because we were terrified of Sean.
Right. See, that's really interesting because that wasn't how you described him at the start of this. So tell me about that. Clearly, there's another side to this guy, to the one that you painted when we first started talking. And the other side to him is appalling, isn't it? I mean, he wielded this power, this influence, this terror over you. Tell me about that.
I mean, like I said, at the beginning of, my career with Puff, it was just we were rising to the top. And when it got to the point with Cassie, it was very difficult for me to deal with that. Like like even right now, it's just it gives me like trauma. And so watching all these allegations unfold, I mean, being an industry professional, that's all I cared about. And like, I don't know what goes on like behind closed doors. So that's not, that's not something for me to like even think about. And so when, watching this unfold has been really difficult for me to like, like stomach.
Right, but it wasn't, I mean, just respectfully, it wasn't behind closed doors, because in 2010, Cassie came to you after he beat her up.
Well, no, but I was there. I was actually with her that night.
Right, but that's what I mean, is that you knew it was happening because you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel any sense of guilt that you didn't report it?
Of course, absolutely. I feel a lot of guilt. I mean, I've been feeling that this whole entire year, because I wish that I could have done something more. But at the time, we were both very terrified. So it's like, what were we supposed to do?
You said, this is a quote from you, we were always scared of Puff. He's a powerful person.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what would have happened to us if we'd spoken out. He could make you disappear. I mean, that sounds like you're saying he would basically have you killed.